Hi guys, it's me. I'm back and I'm doing some YouTube videos again. I understand it's been a while. I've always been a huge anime and manga fan. Actually, that's a lie. I have been an anime fan for a long, long time, probably since I was a young teenage boy. But the manga scene has it's eluded me up until recently. Yeah, and I always wanted to get into the manga scene and become a mangaman. I just stuck with the anime for a while. And I always saw on the internet people saying, "Oh, the manga's better. You got to read the manga." And I was like, what's this crazy manga? What what is manga all about?" So I went out and purchased some a few months ago or a year ago or whenever it was. And I'd always seen manga at the bookstores that I visit occasionally, like Dimmicks here in Australia, and whatever the other one is, Q and D, Q and B, whatever. But they do have manga sections, and I feel like they have expanded recently due to the popularity of anime and manga. Because when I was a teenager, you know, 37,000 years ago, anime was it's not you know it's a bit of a taboo thing, and the world of TikTok and Instagram and social media really brought it to light, and I'm happy it did because I don't have to hide in the shadows anymore like a cretin, like a creature, enjoying my anime in secrecy. I can be public with my love for manga and anime and not feel like I'm going to be ridiculed. People, it's acceptable, and that's great. So to start off this journey, I'm going to talk about one specific manga today, sort of a review and just discussing it a little bit, and that is Junji Ito's GYO. Here it is. Let's go. Let's. Yeah, I should actually mention that there are going to be some mild spoilers. Mild spoilers. I'm going to show some art from the book, so if you don't want any spoilers, I'm sorry. If you are planning to read this, I'm not going to give away much beyond the first third of the story. So Junji Ito, he is an acclaimed manga author. He is Japanese, of course. And he is acclaimed. He is one of Japan's most acclaimed horror manga artistes. He's had an illustrious career. He's been making manga for about 35, 40 years, something like that. And he's published many works over his career. His most well-known would be Uzumaki and Tomie. We're not talking about either of those, okay? So if you want that, I have read Uzumaki and a couple other of his works, and I would like to review Uzumaki and maybe some others going down the track. But today we're starting small. We're starting with one of his lesser-known pieces. It's still known. It's still known in the sphere of horror manga. Now, a little bit about Junji Ito. He's an interesting guy. He has a few signature elements. One of them is extremely detailed art. The artwork in his manga is amazing. It's so detailed, it's disturbing, it's great. Another one of his signatures is sound effects. He loves to write sound effects onto his pages. Most of them are great, some of them are a little confusing, and you don't exactly understand what is making that sound or what that sound is. Another thing Ito loves is to portray the extremes of the physical realm. He loves most of his female characters are extremely beautiful and graceful, but he also likes to display the other end of the spectrum, the grotesque, the transformed, the disfigured, the corrupt, the corruption, supernatural corruption of the highest degree. This is just from reading a few of his works. He seems to be quite fascinated with the concept of destroying beauty and beauty gradually being corrupted and disgraced. In Ito's works, you'll often see human anatomy being dismantled and twisted in horrific and disturbing ways. Helplessness, a lot of bleak, helpless situations the characters are in. Mystery, obsession, All of these elements you're going to find in Ito's work. So if you're looking for a nice, relaxing, uplifting work of fiction, Ito might not be for you. But today we're going to discuss GYO, so once again, let's GYO. The blurb.
The floating smell of death hangs over the island. What is it? A strange legged fish appears on the scene. So begins Tadashi and Kaori's spiral into the horror and stench of the sea.
From the creator of Uzumaki, Junji Ito. Hold your breath.
Until all is revealed.
So by that you can guess that, this is a stinky book. There's a lot of stinky elements, It's about stench, horrific smells. It starts with a couple, Tadashi and Kaori, and they're on a little vacation together. They're staying at Tadashi's uncle's beach house in Okinawa, which is an island to the south of Japan. Sort of a beach vibe, a bit of a Hawaii sort of vibe, and they're having a good time. And Tadashi is scuba diving. All of a sudden he encounters something very, very quick that whizzes past him, and he can't make sense of it, but he thinks, well, that's odd. What was that? Was that a little submarine, or was that some sort of creature? He goes back to the house where Kaori is, and she starts complaining of a horrific stench. Something stinks! Tadashi thinks, oh, is it me? Is that my breath? She says, well, maybe, you are a little stanky. Maybe you need to brush your teeth a bit more. So they have a bit of light arguing, and eventually, Kaori keeps smelling this horrible, rotten stench, and she says, Tadashi, please, deal with this. Sort it out. So he goes looking around the house, and after a little bit of searching, he notices, again, something moving very quickly. A creature is inside the house, scuttling around, scurrying. And this thing can move very, very quickly. So there's a bit of a chase sequence. Tadashi's chasing this unknown being through the house. And eventually he manages to corner it, and he squashes it with like a dresser against the wall. And what is the creature, you may ask? Well, there it is. It's a fish with legs. Quite strange indeed, and it smells really, really bad. It seems to be releasing some sort of a toxic gas. Fish don't have legs. What is going on? What is this horrific chimera creature of the deep? So Tadashi deals with it the only way he can. He ties it up in a plastic bag, and the gas from the fish fills up the bag and it floats away. Now, Tadashi and Kaori think, oh, thank God, it's over. We dealt with this beast. But they are mistaken, because all manner of horror
from the depths.
All of a sudden, it's not just one fish with legs. There's thousands of them, and they come screaming out of the ocean. And this leads to one of my favorite sequences in the book, which is basically a shark attack, but instead of being in the sea, it's on land inside a house. So it's not just fish coming out of the ocean with legs, it's sharks, it's whales, it's all sorts, and this shark breaks into their house. And it's just a really great sequence, You see this shark coming around the corner, and it's something that I'd never seen before, and I really appreciated it. So after this horror, of course, they go back to Tokyo. I can't remember how they get there, but they do. Turns out that Tadashi's uncle is somewhat of a scientist himself. And so Tadashi and Kaori visit Tadashi's uncle, whose house they were staying in, and they tell him what happened. So that's the uncle, and after they go and visit him, he says, your message was a bit strange. What do you mean the house was destroyed by sharks? That's a great line. So Tadashi and Kaori explain what happened on Okinawa and sort of say, this is bad. What is going on? And Tadashi's uncle, whose name is Dr. Koyanagi, he's not as concerned or as shocked as you might think. He actually seems a little bit too curious, a little bit too intrigued. And he says, I think I need to witness one of these creatures for myself. A bit later on, he reveals that his father, so Tadashi's grandfather, was involved in some experimentation during World War II, which we know the Japanese were into that, and were doing, a lot of that. So it becomes maybe a family affair. Maybe, Tadashi's family is sort of responsible for what's going on. It's all mysterious for a while. I'm not going to spoil any more of the story, but I will show you some nice images from the book, which might motivate you to pick it up for yourself. It's fantastic. Yes. So you will find tubes in all orifices, rectums, and what have you. Do these machines exist in real life, and how would one go about creating them? So if anyone out there has any information on that they can share with me, please reach out. Just all manner of horrors, just body horror. So, in conclusion, would I recommend GYO? Yes, I would. I think it's a good entry point for Junji Ito. If you're interested in reading some Junji Ito, I think it's a good entry point. It's not his best work, okay? It gets a little bit silly in I would say, the third act, the last third of the book. There's like a circus, and it just gets a little bit over the top. The characters aren't amazing. There's not much character development. Most of the time, they're just really helpless. Tadashi's uncle was probably my favorite character. He's got a few layers to him. But overall, the characters are a little bit flat. Also, the ending, it's just left completely open. It really doesn't tie the story together very well. It's very open-ended. But overall, it's enjoyable. It's got some fantastic artwork. There's some great sequences, some fantastic ideas, imagery. You're going to enjoy it if you're into horror, if you're into sort of stinky gas, noxious gas, because there's plenty of that in the book. I do recommend picking it up if you want to get into some horror manga and explore the world of Junji Ito. I'll hopefully be back soon, hopefully not 7 years, with another video. I'd like to do one on Junji Ito's Uzumaki. Thank you so much for watching. See you in the next one. Keep it stinky.